Action stations, action stations.
Ship's company and blades for shock.
We have a casualty in the forward foam room.
I looked at the chart. He was very much in what are known as the pirate-infested waters.
HMCS Protector is an auxiliary oil replenisher, or AOR. Her role in this mission is to provide food, fuel, and supplies to the warships in the international fleet. At 24,700 tons, she was built to be a warehouse at sea, sailing through the theater of operations with her ship's crew performing 2 and sometimes 3 RASs, or replenishments at sea, daily. Prearranged mid-sea rendezvous with coalition warships extends their operational capabilities. Without having to lose precious time returning to port, these ships can remain on patrol in the search for terrorists for weeks at a time. A goal of Combined Task Force 150 is the development of a recognized maritime picture. Simply put, it's knowing who's out there and what cargo they're carrying. The primary role of HMCS Protector is to replenish the coalition warships, but here in the pirate-infested waters off the coast of war-torn Somalia, the ship's company is fully prepared to do much more than that. It remains alert for any signs of drugs, weapons, and human smuggling. When a suspicious vessel is spotted, there's only one way to determine whether its cargo is legal. Commander Yves Germain is the executive officer aboard HMCS Protector.
Came across a vessel this morning, first light, that we saw that was in distress. They were waving a red flag indicating that they needed to communicate with us. So right away we decided to send our boarding party doing an approach operation, which is consisting of sending a boat with our naval boarding party and assessing with a translator embarked, assessing their need or their assistance.
A distressed fishing boat could be just that. But in this part of the world, things aren't always as they seem. This distressed dhow could be carrying a cache of illegal drugs, or worse, it could be a terrorist decoy, waiting to lure coalition forces into a suicide bomb attack. The boarding party team assembles in the dispersal area for a briefing. Lieutenant Jay Turner is the boarding party team leader, or Alpha 1.
We have a drifting dhow not responding to VHF hails. Right now they're flying a red flag, which generally indicates some distress. All right, they've been drifting for a while. We've been observing them. Our primary mission will be to determine the nature of their distress, see if we can initially assist them, and then carry on gathering any information we can about that dhow in standard procedures for approach ops.
Bloom, heads up.
Signs indicate a low-threat operation, but when a vessel of interest, or VOI, doesn't answer a hail from a warship, the boarding party isn't about to assume anything. Speeding across the water at 30 knots, the boarding party can be alongside the fishing boat in less than 2 minutes. The Ribs coxswain maintains a safe distance as the interpreter makes contact with the dhow. He announces the team's intention to board, appealing to the ship's master for cooperation. Protector's commanding officer surveys the operation from the replenisher's bridge.
When we started towards the boat, I thought it doesn't quite look right. I looked at the chart, I looked at the major shipping routes. He was very much in what are known as the pirate-infested waters, and I turned to the boarding officer and said, "You're going to do an approach op here, but be very prepared to go into a rescue because his boat is drifting, it's not underway, and he's not in a part of the ocean where it looked like he was fishing or anything like that."
The boarding party must quickly evaluate the threat levels and determine just what is happening on the fishing boat. While they weigh the information they've received from the dhow's captain, an unexpected fog patch blankets the area. A fast decision is made. The party boards the dhow. Trained in controlling potentially violent situations with the use of escalating aggression, the members first strive to keep the atmosphere calm and cooperative. So far, there have been no objections to inspecting the dhow's cargo hold. If there is a stash of drugs or bombs on board, it will probably be found here. The cargo is verified, and nothing suspicious is found. It becomes obvious that the dhow's Somali crew is in need of assistance. As the scorching sun burns up the fog patch, the approach operation officially turns into a rescue operation. The dhow's parched crew is given much-needed bottled water and fruit.
As soon as they got there, it became apparent that the dhow had been drifting for 4 days. They were requiring mechanical assistance. Their engine had failed, their transmission had failed, and they required assistance to repair the transmission or a tow back to port.
The naval boarding party team is a carefully balanced selection of sailors who possess a wide variety of knowledge and experience. They're prepared to react to almost any scenario. Protecteur is obligated by international law to provide humanitarian aid to those in need. A sailor with medical training tends to the injured Somali, while others inspect the engine. The situation now stabilized and under control, the RIB returns to the mothership to pick up more medics. Alpha 1 moves on to the boarding party's second mission to gather human intelligence on potential piracy. This information will be relayed back to the task force to contribute to a recognized maritime picture.
Have you been doing this a long time, transporting cargo, fish cargo?
Yes.
Like how long?
4 years.
4 years. We're just trying to provide, a secure environment for you to do your business, etc. Has he been? So he said he doesn't fish at all. You don't fish at all.
He say I don't fishing, but I buy from Bosasa and I sell to Makalai.
The dhow's master has been using a common shipping route between Bosaso in Somalia and Makala in Yemen. It's also a familiar route used by pirates. Sometimes their cargo is human. People attempting to enter Yemen illegally, hoping for any work in this poverty-stricken part of Africa. The naval boarding party will be alert for any signs of human trafficking.
And the fish is popular in Yemen, and that's why you transport it to Yemen?
He say yes.
Does he ever have trouble, like in Yemen, offloading his cargo, or he's been doing it long enough it's smooth?
He say no.
No, it's good?
He say, just I go over there and I sell my fish and I come back.
And is this the usual crew that he uses? Like these are friends or?
He say mostly they change their schedule. Some of them they go to their family, some of them they come over here.
The RIB returns from Protecteur with the second wave of the boarding party. Alpha 1 informs the dhow's master that additional members will be coming on board.
Okay, so we're gonna bring a couple more people on board. One of them's gonna be a medic to take care of your sick guy. And then we're gonna have another guy come up and he's gonna look in case we have to tow your ship. He's gonna make sure that we have somewhere to tow it. Okay?
Establishing a positive rapport with the locals is crucial to the task force mission. Spreading the good news about the international goal to establish maritime security may encourage crews of other merchant vessels to cooperate with coalition members in the future. The team of medics assesses the extent of the Somali's injuries.
It hurts him anywhere I touch on his spine. Okay. Can't feel anything in his feet. Okay. Limited feeling in his legs. His blood pressure, and that's fine. And he has malaria.
Mother, this is Alpha 1, over.
Alpha 1 maintains control of the dhow while remaining in constant communication with the mothership. Both Commander Cantillon and Executive Officer Germain are kept apprised of the situation so they can effectively make decisions as the scenario evolves.
Mother, this is Alpha 1, the engineering crew on board assessing the engine situation, as well as the Papa Alpha on board assessing the casualty. Over.
Now aboard the distressed dhow, the medics discover that in addition to his injuries, the Somali mariner is also suffering from malaria. A high alert situation has within moments become a rescue mission. The stench of an old fishing boat in the ruthless 40-degree heat and the persistent, unsteady rocking of the drifting dhow can upset the strongest of stomachs. For the naval boarding party, seasickness is sometimes part of the job.
Yeah, good time. I'm all right now, but... What's that? No, I'm good for water. The sea state's killing me. I'm a little bit seasick. I may blow chunks soon, but...
In this type of situation, nausea can be a dangerous distraction. Alpha 1 does his best to overcome his discomfort and remain alert. With additional backup now on board, he transfers to the rib to deliver his next status report.
What's that? Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. I'll just stand off. I'm just going to sit down for a bit. Mother, this is Alpha 1. It looks like it's problems with their transmission, and the only way to repair it would be to pull the transmission out. This would be a significant repair in the assessment of the engineers we have, indicating that towing is looks like our option. Over. Looks like we're going to bring the vessel under tow. SEAL still wants us to continue to progress whatever work you can. With the way ahead, don't pull the tranny, or is that the only option?
Yeah, that's where we're at now. That's where we're at.
Okay, I'll pass that back, but we're gonna bring it under tow, so we'll just stand by while they set up for that, okay? Mother, this is Alpha 1. Further conversation with the Alpha 4 has indicated that the only option right now is to pull the transmission, and that's their way ahead. Over.
From Alpha 1's perspective, the decision to tow seems obvious, but diverting a warship, along with its 260 personnel on board, is an expensive and time-consuming proposition. The commanding officer must be very thorough in his evaluation before a final decision is made to dedicate his resources to a towing operation.
Alpha 4? Yeah, can you give me a rough estimate, like super guesstimate, as to what it would take to pull the transmission?
It would probably take us a good 12 hours.
12 hours. Mother, this is Alpha 1, the ETR, just to repair the transmission, barring the fact that we don't actually have the parts on board, would be approximately 12 hours. But Alpha 4 has indicated, due to the make and model of the transmission, that we don't have the required parts on board. Over.
Alpha 1 reboards the dhow to pass on the command from the bridge. Protector will indeed be towing the dhow to the nearest port.
Mother, this is Alpha 1. We're ready to receive for towing. Over.
Everyone is moved to the dhow's stern for shelter from the sun. Members of the naval boarding party have been selected for their ability to evaluate situations realistically. In this case, Alpha 1 realizes he has reached his physical limit.
Yeah, I need to change out. Yeah, I just emptied out, so.
A blue tarp is erected by the boarding party to protect the injured Somali. A team of bosuns arrives to prepare the dhow for towing. The nearest port is 130 kilometers away in Bosaso, Somalia, a country with a failed government, circumstances that have allowed pirates to operate there largely unchecked.
I think the best bet would be to have these use the ribs to pull us over there.
With the tow preparation underway and the situation well under control, Alpha 1 can take a much-needed break. The extreme temperatures in the theater of operations can be dangerous to those used to cooler climates.
I'll need those life jackets on here. So because there's a potential that something bad could happen here, right? When we start towing this thing.
Now within a few hundred yards of Protecteur, the bosuns on the dhow attach a heavy-duty rope or hawser to the bow. The decision is made by the combined task force to have the tanker tow the dhow to the nearest warship, HMCS Iroquois. With her heavy armament and smaller size, Iroquois is better equipped to sail into the potentially treacherous port of Bosaso in Puntland, Somalia. From the quarterdeck, Executive Officer Yves Germain coordinates the tow. In Somalia, there is no regulatory body to determine a vessel's seaworthiness, as one finds in Europe and North America. For this dhow, it looks like the pressure from the tow line alone could cause serious damage. The crew cautiously continues its work.
This is a quarterdeck. Dhow is responding nicely. You can slowly increase speed. Confirm Tango Tango, you happy with that? Quarterdeck, copy.
And quarterdeck, we now have 2 knots rung on.
Copy. Dhow is steady at 190 yards astern, over.
The boat appeared to be in a good seaworthy condition, except for the engine. It appears they were maybe ferrying people from town to town in northern Somalia, since it appears that the road system is not very good. So they had departed a few days ago. We understood that more than at least 4 days that they've been here at sea, uncertain when they broke down. But they're going only 80 miles away from here, so we decided to give them a tow and get them to their next port of call in order to get them on their way. I think we had a good response. It always takes a bit of time to get organized, to make sure that the vessel is capable of being towed. That's a serious concern for us. So we provided life jacket in case the strain on the hawser would be too much, and in case we damage the boat. At this point, everything appears to be stable. And we have quite a few more hours to tow this vessel in order to get them home. But towing is always a slow evolution, and it always takes time to tow a vessel properly.
Stress due to heat and dehydration happens quickly. During the tow, boarding party members and medics regularly change shifts about once an hour to make sure the team maintains its sharpness. But a shift change is no easy task. Strict protocol is practiced to prevent any unwanted contaminants from penetrating Protecteur's living quarters. Boarding party members begin by rinsing their boots. Their outer clothing is immediately removed to be washed, and they too must shower before being permitted to rejoin the ship's company. A 4-hour tow in the punishing North African heat is a grueling seamanship evolution, but for all boarding party members involved, helping those in need is worth the effort.
I'm very confident the crew, through their actions, saved 14 people who had just had an unfortunate experience at sea. And in this part of the world, there's not a lot of coast guards, there's not aircraft doing patrols, which you'll get off the coast of Canada and the United States or Europe. So it really was a meaningful day to save the lives, and it was 10 fishermen and 5 passengers that he was giving a ride to. And they just had very bad misfortune to have their engine, but then great fortune to have us come along and provide aid and tow them back to port.
It's been a red-letter day for the ship's company. The opportunity to provide humanitarian aid to the distressed dhow and its passengers has been a significant event, and one that will be long remembered by the crew. Touring the theater of operations in one of the most lawless areas of the world is the mission for the Combined Task Force 150 warships. Bringing maritime stability to the Persian Gulf region, much like a cop walking the beat in a potentially volatile neighborhood, can be dangerous. The boarding operation safely concluded. The supply technicians in Protecteur turn their attention back to their primary duty. These men and women perform hours of physical labor each day in extreme heat and humidity, with average temperatures and humidex readings of between 40 and 50 degrees. Warrant Officer Dan Poirier is responsible for the 18 supply technicians in the logistics department.
Okay, so this is where the supply techs hang out. This is 6 stores. This is a general area. It encompasses 3 different storerooms, 6, 9, and 11. Supply techs are basically the backbone of the Navy. Well, it'd be disputable in many other trades, but we provide food, fuel, parts, ammunition. We're the ones that control it. We're the warehousemen. Basically in 6 stores is all the small commodities we store. Protector has to be self-sufficient on its own, and we're also an auxiliary oiler replenisher, and we look after the fleet with fuel, food, worldwide cargo delivery. Basically, for line items, we carry about 14,000 line items at a roughly a dollar value, $150 million worth of stores on board. We can carry upwards of 100 tons of food and roughly 500 tons worth of cargo.
9 stores is located just below 6 stores. This is where Protector carries larger items that will hopefully see less use on this deployment.
Okay, we're now at 9 stores. This is designated our air stores. When Protector has the capability of embarking 3 helicopters. So in here, in their Vidmar cabinets, we store all the requirements for the air debt. Basically now we're using it as a consolidation area. All our stores come down into 9 stores, and as we do our receipts, we bring them back up to 6 to do our receipts. They've got 8 tri-walls there, or 9, 10 tri-walls of consumables from our offload project. And we also store CBRN equipment down here, and any packaging materials and computer paper, photocopy paper for the entire ship's company. Also, we have our radiation locker over there for all our CBRN equipment. CBRN is chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear protection. Down here in 10 stores, we store a lot of parts required to repair the ship's fitted equipment. All these parts down here are in support of our ship. They're medium to large items, right? As 6 stores with smaller items. The tanker is a unique ship where we bring stores on for other ships, and we generally store them in our warehouses. We use our space to the maximum ability. So sometimes our warehouses are constantly changing shapes and where we store our location of items. Welcome to the lowest portion part of the ship. This is 11 stores. You're roughly about 40 feet below water. Right, there's a double keel, double hull, so on the other, about 6 inches after that, you're open ocean. 11 stores, and all of our storerooms, we like to affectionately call it Death Central. We have an ammunition bag in front of us. We have fuel tanks on the port starboard side, fuel tanks on the port side, and fuel tanks aft. So we basically work in the best part on board ship. That's why we like to call it Death Central. Typically down here are some of our bigger items, stuff that doesn't move as frequently, pumps, motors, any large items. We store down in 11 stores, and it just best utilizes the space.
Bring up all this stuff you can carry right now, and myself and the other guys don't overload yourselves. We'll bring up the rest. We're going to leave the weapons until the final time, okay?
Sounds good.
All right.
After more than a month at sea, the ship's company is looking forward to 2 days in Dubai. But not everyone will be going into the historic city. Armed with a variety of weapons, some members will stay back to guard the tanker against any threat of terrorism while she's alongside. Ordinary Seaman Kayla Chalk will be part of today's group.
What we're doing right now is we're setting up for a proficiency shoot. Prior to coming alongside and standing at duty watch, you must fire and prove that you are still capable of using a weapon.
Okay, so get the actions all to the rear.
Today's shoot begins with a careful cleaning of the C7 rifles. Similar to the M16 rifle, the C7s can be fired in either semi-automatic or automatic mode.
Yeah, give them all a good light oiling, right on the metal surfaces.
We were loading up the mags, pre-firing, cleaning, just to make sure there's no other debris that got in the barrels from the last shoot. We call the officer to watch. We get a range clear, so we'll be firing from our port side because we have nothing within 15 miles or less upon our ship right now.
The proficiency shoot will take place on the tanker's largest and most open outdoor space, the flight deck. The group takes its weapons and waits for instructions for the semi-automatic shoot. Master Seaman Ian Biller will be leading today's proficiency test.
The first hit's going to consist of a 5-round rapid. So when I tell you to, when I say threat, I want to hear a verbal stop, get back, okay? Stop where you are. Okay, when I say threat for the second time, I want you to come up on aim, cock your weapon, forward assist, and I want you to fire 5 rounds into the ocean. Everybody got that? The 10-round magazine, load! On the line, threat! Stop! Threat! Threat! Down off aim, on safety.
The shoot quickly moves on to using the C7s in their more rapid-fire automatic mode.
Okay, make sure you got a good, firm footing, okay? Just stand behind them with your hand there just in case they want to come back.
You want to lead?
On the line! Threat! On safety! On the line, clear for inspection! Wait for my line staff to come around and clear! Once you've been cleared, hit the boom catch, forward assist, dry fire your weapon, close your dust cover, and place your weapon on the deck. Clear.
Master Seaman Biller briefs the team for the next proficiency shoot, this time using 9mm pistols and targets. The 9mm is an important weapon in the arsenal used by those standing watch each time the tanker's alongside in an unfamiliar port. Today's extreme heat and humidity make it difficult simply to hold the firearm securely.
Okay, these are pretty slippery because they're oiled and they're sweating a little bit, okay? When I give you the load, you'll insert the magazine, give it a tap, put it in your holster. Okay, when you come up on aim, I'll give you drug and body armor, threat, you'll pull it out, cock it, dry fire. Everybody know what drug and body armor is? Okay, it's 2 to the chest, 1 to the head. So I'll say threat, you come up, cock it, bang, bang, bang. Okay, come down off on aim, decock your weapon, holster it. Pretty easy. If you're in the middle of a firefight and you go and nothing happens, this is what we want to see. Grab your spare magazine, keep your weapon up, because he probably doesn't see her slide to the rear. Once you have your other magazine and you inspect it in your hand, drop the other one out, put the other one in, hit the slide catch, and continue firing.
Good.
Taking their positions, the team readies for the drill. These weapons may be acclimatized to the 45-degree day, but the sailors are not. Handling the slippery 9mm is a challenge.
On the line, right! Drug and body armor, right! Decock, holster your weapon.
Did I hit the target?
Whenever you put your weapon in your holster, always have your thumb on the hammer.
Okay.
The 9mm pistols are tricky to grasp under these weather conditions. To be prepared to stand guard when alongside in Dubai, the crew will have to have absolute control over their weapons, slippery hands or not.
I can't get it back. I can't get it.
There you go.
Holster it.
With your weapon in your holster.
Rugged body armor! Run!
Okay. Keep weapon up.
Oh, yeah.
Mag. Release your mag. There you go. Again. Decock the weapon.
No, slide catch. Net fire? Okay.
Okay, on the line, clear for inspection. Move your magazine. Cycle your action once, twice, 3 times, walk it to the rear. There, once you get clear, hit your slide catch, decock your weapon, holster your weapon.
I'm out. So, proof.
There you go. You got him. Clear.
For ordinary seaman Chalk, firing a gun is a new experience, creating a certain measure of mixed emotions.
I like it, it's fun. Hopefully I don't have to use it for the real measures that it's used for, but it's fun to shoot at the waves.
HMCS Protector's crucial role as a replenishment ship for the International Coalition's destroyers requires that she carry millions of dollars worth of stores. Her significance to the mission also makes her a potential target for terrorism. Now just south of Yemen, where the Gulf of Aden becomes the Arabian Sea, she's entered one of the most dangerous corners of the world. The ship's company must be ready to defend against potential aggressors. Protector's various departments train daily, but once a week, the entire ship participates simultaneously in a unique training exercise that unleashes real-time scenarios upon the crew at a moment's notice. It's called Battle Bag Training Day, and it involves every member of the ship's company. Lieutenant Jeff Kibble is the operations officer, or game master, for today's scenario.
The way we run a training day is the ship's company knows that something is going to happen during that day, but they're, other than the planners, the organizers, and the game master for the day, they don't really know what is going to happen. So it could be anything. It could be a fire, it could be a flood, we could have a man overboard, helicopter crash. So there's a whole host of things that could happen that all the teams on the ship need to be prepared for, but they certainly didn't know the specifics of when or what would happen in the scenario.
The training session begins with a briefing in the operations room. Located just behind the bridge, the operations room is the first to receive communications and intelligence. Only personnel within this room will have full knowledge of today's combat scenario.
Protector has returned to our favorite training area, the Straits of Molokai, and we're already starting a transit through the Straits of Molokai, and we're heading to an important mission. The Molokai Liberation Army has vowed in the past to prevent warships transiting through what they claim to be their straits. New reports indicate that the MLA have acquired some Charlie 802 shore-launched missiles, potentially up to 4.
Task Force Intelligence has indicated that a new missile has fallen into the hands of terrorist organizations throughout Southeast Asia and the Middle East. It's a Chinese-built anti-ship missile C-802, or Charlie 802. Today, Protector's crew will train to prepare for an attack by a Charlie. The decision to use live ammunition during the drill has been made, but the CO has concerns.
We've had low detection, as you know, with the dhows, only about 6 to 7 miles on radar. So when we do these CWIS firings today, it's critical that we do an excellent visual lookout. That has, without a doubt, been one of our best sources for detection. I don't want any inadvertent firings with a contact in the range that no one found because they relied too much on radar. So very good visual lookout for CWIS firings is required.
The intention of Battle Bag Day is to put the ship's company under sudden and unexpected stress. Today's operations room officer, the ORO, has received new intelligence.
Yes, sir. We just got that tipper information that indicates that the Molokai Liberation Army had declared intent to use missiles to stop all All warships are transiting their area, sir. I'm coming to air threat warning yellow based on tipper information, sir.
Roger, green.
Air threat warning yellow based on tipper from Mount MLA.
Just ahead of the operations room and one deck up, the officers on the bridge are alert to the threat.
Watch, we have a missile site that's being activated to the north. We are now at air threat warning red. Watch order will bring the ship to action stations.
Bring the ship to action station, right, sir? Action stations, action stations.
The opportunity to identify just how a ship's company will measure up in the face of a highest alert situation is an invaluable experience. Despite the 40-degree temperatures, members scramble to get into full combat gear. Each battle bag day in this theater of operations is a reminder that the presence of danger is very real and very close. The officer of the watch, today's officer in charge of the bridge, looks out for the incoming missile along the bearing provided by the ORO down below in the ops room. Combat Systems Engineers, or CSEs, also take up their stations, readying Protector's missile defense systems. The Surface Weapons Controller, or SWIC, tracks the incoming Charlie 802 missile with radar. Protector's first line of defense against an incoming missile is the Super Rapid Chaff Launchers, located just below the forward sea whiz. The chaff fires cartridges that spread a small cloud of shredded aluminum, which distracts radar-guided missiles from their target.
Swick. Chaff closed up. Swick, roger. Oris, Swick. Oris, closed up. Roger.
When approaching its target, the Charlie 802 missile dives to wave-top height so as to inflict maximum damage. It uses a 165-kilogram, semi-armor-piercing, anti-personnel blast warhead, which relies on the missile's sheer kinetic energy to pierce the hull and explode inside the ship. The CSE begins to count down the estimated time to impact.
Pop up! 000, 55 miles, separating from lab.
The identification of the incoming missile is confirmed.
Oro. Roger, sir. ISS Charlie 802 by a speed and flight profile. Intend taking all resolved missiles closing Protector.
With a single-shot hit probability of 98%, it's one of the most difficult missiles to intercept. Flying at just 5 meters above the surface of the Gulf of Oman, it's reaching speeds just shy of Mach 1, over 1,000 kilometers per hour.
Vampire 000, 45 miles, tracking south, speed very fast. Estimate 600 knots.
Time is of the essence. In a real scenario, the slightest hesitation could have catastrophic results for HMCS Protector and her crew. Launching chaff too early would have equally grave consequences.
Confirmation, missile inbound at 40 miles inbound.
Roger, 40 miles inbound. Confirm bearing.
000.
Roger.
On the port bow.
Go port bow, missile inbound now 40 miles. Stand by.
As the Charlie 802 missile rapidly approaches, the weapons engineer responsible for triggering the chaff anxiously awaits the order to launch.
Vampire 000, 25 miles. Tracking south, speed 600.
Swick, you have clearance to continue chaff firing. The personnel are clear of the danger area.
Swick, roger.
Vampire 000, 15 miles, tracking south, speed very fast. Rank 1.
With less than 1 minute to go before the C-802 strikes, the chaff rounds are launched.
Vampire 000, 10 miles. Closing fast. 9 miles.
Action! Chaff in action! Starboard! Forward! Launcher!
Chaff away! 8 miles.
Roger, chaff away.
Just off the coast of Somalia, Protector's crew prepares for the worst. With the C-802 missile hurtling towards Protector, the combat systems engineers have launched the radar countermeasures chaff rounds. But they don't wait to determine if the chaff has thrown the anti-ship missile off course. It's time to engage the last line of the ship's defense, the Mk-15 Phalanx Close-In Weapon System, or CWIS. This fearsome 6-barrel machine gun is designed to engage anti-ship cruise missiles and fixed-wing aircraft at short range. Capable of firing 20mm ammunition at 3,000 rounds per minute, one short burst of gunfire creates a deadly wall of tungsten bullets that can shred an incoming missile into scrap metal.
Missile 5 miles.
Roger, missile 5 miles. Should be
Brace for shock.
range.
Brace for shock.
Brace for shock. I have the missile visual on the port bow now. Brace for shock everywhere in the bridge. Missile visible.
Ship's company is ready for shock. Missile 10,000 command forward.
Weapon cal. Weapons free, 50 cal.
3 miles.
CWIS tracking.
Confirm CWIS tracking. CWIS.
2 miles.
Current bearing 000.
CWIS engaging.
CWIS engaging.
Ocelot, CWIS engaging.
Roger, CWIS engaging. CWIS firing now.
Assess kill.
Roger, affirmative. We have good visual. There's shrapnel. Bits flying into the ocean about 2 miles off the port bow.
Whiskey, this is Charlie Whiskey, assess Protector splash to 1 Charlie 802. Break air threat remains red.
Just go through your equipment everywhere, check, make sure that everything is still functioning.
Check with the gun positions.
We're just doing a damage assessment on the bridge. Full check for any damage. No visual signals or signs of any damage on the bridge or shrapnel.
The CWIS does its job, with the Charlie 802 missile just seconds away from Protector. But today's war game isn't over yet.
Okay, all positions ORO. We just took the last Charlie 802 with the CWIS. We are still being targeted by the Charlie 802 to the north. We'll remain on this course to take them. All eyes down and looking. We just got another report that there's more information from ESM that we are continuing to be targeted. 502, that's your job to get down. Good work on the last one. Same work on this one. That is all.
Okay. Whiskey, Charlie Whiskey.
Outside the ops room, firefighters close up as news of a second anti-ship missile threat is piped through the ship.
All Lieutenant Commander. Indication of the missile inbound on port bow 35 miles 3 minutes ago.
And came back, they said it was a
false alarm.
False alarm. Massive LC.
Stand down the attack team.
Roger.
While the ops room and the bridge deal with the second missile attack, the firefighters are kept jumping as they're suddenly informed of a false alarm. Assuming there is no longer any danger from fire, they remove their gear.
Ship's company, brace for shock.
Brace for shock. Come on, brace for shock. On the balls of your feet underneath your head up, back straight.
Forward CWIS, engage. Forward CWIS, shoot. Forward CWIS, cease firing.
Ship's company on brace. CWIS a kill.
Rapid survey. Rapid survey.
The second C-802 missile is intercepted before reaching Protector, but the deadly storm of razor-sharp metal shards of shrapnel, known as follow-on, continues on a trajectory toward the ship.
You can imagine a fairly large missile flying at the ship, and even though you shoot it, all that mass continues, and the rocket fuel and all that continues to fly towards the ship, and likely would impact the ship. So that's also a pretty realistic scenario to take damage even though you've shot it down.
Fire in the forward route.
Firefighters scramble to get their gear on quickly, again, to investigate the damage caused by the follow-on.
Okay, first aider, just so you're aware, we have a casualty in the forward foam room. All right?
An injured sailor adds an unexpected element to this new scenario. The first aid team rushes to treat the casualty while firefighters are quickly briefed.
Okay guys, fire's in the forward foam room. There's an attack hose rigged on the port side from this station. You are to go to this hose, use it, attack the fire. Right here.
Injuries from shrapnel can be violent and brutally painful. Today's special effects are an unanticipated dose of realism. While the casualty is being treated, the firefighters approach the fire in the forward phone room, and infrared cameras used to look for any other injured sailors who may be hidden by the dense smoke. The firefighters cool down the door and allow the intense heat to dissipate from the phone room before rushing in with the water hose. The last disaster of Battle Bag Day has been met. Although satisfied with the exercise, Lieutenant Kibble, today's game master, has identified a few areas that will need to be tightened up in order for the ship's company to survive an attack.
The reason we do it is to find areas of weakness or find areas that need improving. So overall, I would assess that as a satisfactory training evolution. The closing up time was a little bit slow, could have been a bit better. The alarm on the chaff launcher failed to operate, so they're going to investigate getting that repaired. There was a couple of communication difficulties, reports not being passed in as fast a manner as they should have been or were missed. But overall, I would have assessed we would have put the fires out, would have shot the missiles down, and would have suffered some damage. But yeah, the objective was training and to learn lessons, and I think those were learned, and they were shared by the teams to everyone on the ship. It's 35, 40 degrees out, so there's people that don't look forward to putting on the bunker gear and the firefighting gear. So yeah, but in the end, everyone realizes the value of doing the training, for sure.
As Battle Bag Day winds down, the exhausted crew members look relieved. Their attention will now return to their primary mission. Confident that they have the ability to defend HMCS Protector and her cargo against any threat of terrorism, the ship's company sails on to the next rendezvous, fulfilling her role of international support for Combined Task Force 150 and the fight against terrorists and piracy on the high seas.